President Donald Trump has blamed Antifa activists for the violence of protests across the country, saying that he wants to designate Antifa as a terror organization. But what exactly is this group Antifa, and why is it receiving so much attention? Joining me now on Skype to answer this question is Charles Stimson, Senior Legal Fellow and Manager of the National Security Law Program at the Heritage Foundation. Cully, thanks so much for coming on.
I'm delighted to be with you. Thank you.
So I know so many folks are maybe hearing about this group for the first time. Can you explain a little bit more about what Antifa is, what they stand for, and maybe what their history is here in the United States?
Yeah, Antifa has been around a while. It stands for anti-fascists, but they are fascists, ironically, and they're a loosely affiliated group that's highly organized, however, well-funded, and rather angry at the United States and the rule of law. And so they've carried out a series of attacks around the country. One of the more notable ones was in Portland, Oregon, many years ago, when a journalist named Andy Ngo was bashed in the head and really injured badly. And so to the extent that they or groups affiliated with them are involved in this, the president is right to direct the Attorney General to go after them.
Antifa has been named as being largely responsible for the violence that we have been following the death of George Floyd. What exactly do we know about its involvement, and is it something that can be easily spotted?
Yeah, I don't know in the public domain whether we have enough information to know exactly what their involvement is, and that's why there will be investigations, hopefully at the state but also federal level. But to the extent that they are, if they are, then the federal government, if Antifa people associated with Antifa have triggered federal law, in other words, crossed state lines or used interstate communications to carry out their acts, and that would trigger federal law. If not, then a lot of the stuff we're seeing on TV are common law crimes, and states are amply, adequately housed with criminal laws like burglary and robbery and looting and destruction of property to prosecute and hold people accountable, whoever these people are.
As mentioned, President Trump has said that he plans to label Antifa as a domestic terror organization, and Attorney General William Barr even said, quote, "The violence instigated and carried out by Antifa and other similar groups in connection with the rioting is domestic terrorism and will be treated accordingly." How will that work, and how does labeling Antifa as a domestic terror organization, how does that help law enforcement, and is that something that can actually be done?
It's a great question, because as a practical matter, directing and focusing the attention of the Department of Justice and law enforcement on any group, whether it's the Earth Liberation Front or a white supremacist group or here Antifa, obviously has the full force of the government focusing on that. So he's pivoting off of other issues and making this a priority. As a legal matter, however, Congress has defined domestic terrorism in federal code, but they have not attached a criminal penalty to it. So if they're charged with anything, the one thing, whether it's robbery or burglary or something like that, murder, they're not going to be charged with domestic terrorism per se on the indictment, because there is no such crime. It's just a label that describes activity.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming on and giving us your analysis of this that really answers a lot of questions. Charles Stimson, Senior Legal Fellow and Manager of the National Security Law Program at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you again.
Thank you.